Then I wanna see a show. I flip on the book of face. Yeah, I know where to go. There's a man over there into the music scene, showing lots of love for the community. With great advice, I know who I should go see. So all around town radio show. That's where I go for the latest band info.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Hot Topic Tuesday today here from the All Around Town Radio Studios in beautiful downtown Springboro, Ohio. I want to say hi to everybody checking in with us there. Say hi out there. I do not have an iPad to see you pop up on Facebook today. So it like I said yesterday, it took a bit of a dump. So we're working on that and getting that one replaced. And Sweet Sister Mercy with the theme song there. Thank you so much for that. And we're going to get into Hot Topic Tuesday. I have a special guest today. Karis is off on special assignment. Actually, she's just taking the day off today. She needed it. And we want to give our thoughts to her, Karis, because this is the anniversary of Bear's birthday, you know, I think, and all that. So the Bell and the Bear, man, that's what he's named after. Hi, Bob Klein. How are you?
I'm really doing well, Scott. How are you? It's good to see you.
Well, I'm trying to get us both in there. There we go. We're both here. It's great to see you. Thanks for joining me today and filling in today. Last time Karis was off, we had the lovely Megan Miller. You and I aren't nearly as pretty.
No, God, no.
But you know, it will make do today. We will. Let's see if anybody's checking in with us there before we get started. I'm hearing some funky noises. You hearing funky noises, Bob? Anything?
I'm not hearing it on my end. No.
Okay, good. Must be in my ears here. Let's see. Ed Sawicki is here. Good to see you, Ed. And thank you again, Ed, for a wonderful weekend and all those great pictures from Springfest in the Berg. Ed Sawicki, man, what a pro. What a pro he is. Yeah, you said you looked at those, didn't you, Bob?
Yeah, he's just got he captures everything. Perfect.
He's got that eye, you know. I mean, it's he sees something happening, you see him hustling over to get the right angle and stuff. It's really cool. It is. Hey, Kevin Cooper and Erica, thanks for being here. Hola. And Ed says, my pleasure. Thank you, Ed. What do we got? John DeLuca. What's up, man? Thank you. I want to introduce Bob Klein. If you don't know him, he's the drummer in Rock House out of Columbus. Rock House Band, Columbus, right? Is that how we say that?
I'm just Rock House. Yeah.
That's it? Leave it alone?
Yeah, we had to put the Columbus tag on the end of it. Our Facebook page got swiped like I guess
everybody else
3 years ago now. You know, we had
then
we had to start over and all, you know how that goes.
Yes. Hold on. What's Retroactive Band says, hi, Bob and Scott. I think Bob is pretty. There you go, Bob. Your first compliment of the day.
Well,
I bet we know who that is.
Glasses like I am.
Is that somebody you might have gone to like high school with or something?
Maybe, yeah. I'm pretty sure I got a sneaking suspicion, yeah.
Could be. Hi, Carla. Thanks for dropping in. Scott Albrecht from Wild Frontiers. He killed it this weekend at Springfest. Thank you so much for being the lead singer in that band and wowing us with your talent. Hey, Bob, let's get started with our topic today because we've got something interesting. And it's something we haven't, we've touched on social media so much about bands and social media. We're going to avoid the social media talk today, but we're going to get into how to grow your brand as a band. And I think it's a great topic. And we're going to chat a little bit about that. And you came up with this idea, and I think it's a really good one, by the way. Give me the thought process behind that when it popped into your head, because I think I know where you're going with this.
Yeah. So, you know, when we talked last week, I had some ideas kind of kicking around in my head, and I kept coming back to this. Because I think it's something that that a lot of bands want to do, but maybe teeth. Nice. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Nice eyebrows.
I'm looking in this screen and I kind of look like Ross Geller a little bit in the mouth part anyway, but so that's about it. But
she's saying is I have terrible teeth. So there.
So the more I kept thinking about it, I just kept coming back to the brand thing. And the reason I wanted to talk about was like, because I think a lot of people want to grow it, grow their band, or if there's an individual artist, but to grow your branding and to reach out. And it's something that I've been very fortunate in the last 5 or 6 years with my current band to, and I'm not taking credit for any of this at all. My singer, who was also the manager of the band, is an absolute beast at doing this kind of stuff. And so I've gotten to watch from, pretty close up front and how he does it. And he's done an amazing job at our brand awareness and getting us out into places that we never thought we would go. Actually, no, I take that back, because he thought we could go there and he had the vision for it. I sat and watched, and every time he clicked off a new place that I never thought we would go to, I just sat there and went, wow, how did you do that? So I've been around watching him long enough do it that I think I have pretty good insight on it.
Well, how did he do that? I mean, because you guys obviously came together and started somewhere and, built this schedule you posted the other day, which is massive, by the way, through the summer months and into next year.
Yeah.
It's busy.
Yeah. It is. First of all, we're all a little bit crazy to be doing it like we do it, but we take off the better part of December, and we take all of January, February off. So that's where we kind of rejuvenate a little bit and, get to know our wives again and our families. And, but it just, we all basically black out dates at the beginning of the year, and then anything else is fair game. And, it's worked for us. But really, the band has been around, I want to say, in one shape or form for almost a dozen years now. The original name of the band was No Regrets, and they operated for a while. And there's a lot of people who came and went. And actually, there was a band tragedy. The former guitar player actually passed away out of nowhere, completely unexpected. And so after that happened, the guys sat down and had to make a really tough decision on what they wanted to do moving forward. And there was some legal stuff with the name of the band, and they decided they wanted to continue. So they renamed the band, became Rock House, and moved on as a 4-piece from that point. And then, because there were 2 guitars originally in the band, and at one point, about a year or so after that, I was asked to fill in for a week down in Key West. And I'm not an idiot, so I said, sure. And I went and did that, and it was amazing. And for me, as far as being in the band, that's kind of was the start. And I actually did that one more time while the current drummer was there. And right around COVID, when COVID was kind of wrapping up, he decided to leave the band, and then I got the gig full time. So
perfect.
As far as building that schedule up, I mean, that's all that's been Doug, and that's been the number one thing what I can see from the outside looking in is just relationships. He is incredible at making relationships and maintaining relationships with the different venues and events and stuff like we play, stuff that I never ever would have thought of. Every one of them gets a Christmas card from the band every year, little things like that. Just,
wow. Yeah.
Just checking in to be present, and, hey, we're thinking of you, and you'd be surprised how far a simple card, a note will go. Little stuff, little things like that, always checking in with them. And another thing is just going all out for every single show we play. We've built up the stage show to, we've got like the pyrotechnics and stuff like that going on, and we can't use everything at every place we go, but just, that's just a matter of thinking big, I guess, and thinking, what can we do to make ourselves different from the others? And,
let me hit on something here, because you were talking there about the band, and you changed the name to reflect Rock House. Mm-hmm. But I see so often bands changing names like it's changing your underwear. I mean, I literally had 2 bands change their name 2 days before a festival, and they were on all the bills for the festival for that, and they changed their names, and it's like, ugh, I mean, one time change, but you got to have a brand. You got to stick with it, because people aren't going to know who you are if you change your name all the time. And it's like formerly known as, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It might have worked for Prince, but I don't know that it's going to work for a local band.
No, it's not going to work for, local cover band in Cincinnati or Columbus or Dayton or wherever. It's tough. One of your biggest goals I think you need to have is to be recognizable, and you're never going to get that if you keep, we don't like this name. Let's go to this time. And,
What do you think the importance is once you come up with a band name? And we're probably talking to some folks out there that are fairly new in the business. Once you come up with a band name, would you say the second item is branding is a logo of some sort that is you're going to stick with?
Absolutely. Yeah. And again, props to Doug. I mean, he did that. That stuff was all done before anything was announced, before any, they had shout out to Karis. They had their shit together before anybody knew that they existed, So yeah, it's really important to do that. And then right off the bat, then you just try and take the world by storm, kind of, I know I'm being a little bit over dramatic there, but that's what you have to do, I think, to start off and get yourself some good content. Go out and book a gig somewhere that's got a really good looking stage, do something. I can tell you this right now. I know somebody that is in the middle of doing this very thing right now. It's kind of a very much of a niche band, or should I say niche, but they have one gig lined up, a week-long gig lined up, like in January, February. And they haven't done anything, but they went out and booked themselves a gig last week at a really cool place where they knew some people. And right before anybody even knows who they are, they've got great video already ready to go in the can. They had a professional photographer there taking pictures and videos of everything. I mean, that if you want to go big, and not even going big, just go the right way, go professional. I mean, that's a great way to start it.
Yeah, and I can use an example. This past weekend at the festival we had a group, a duo. It was the first time they'd ever played as a duo. They were slated to play as a band. Something imploded in the band, so they came as a duo, and they brought a videographer / photographer with them that they paid to basically make a demo for them. And that's what this guy was doing the whole time. And I think it was genius from that aspect. If you want to sell yourself, you're on a big stage, there's people around, all that. And branding, people overlook branding. They worry so much in a band about content sometimes when it comes to like music and song lists and all that, but you got to have a brand before you can ever do that other stuff. And like you said, relationships, we've beat on this horse so many times about relationships on the show with venue owners, people in your flock, people that tend to want to help. I mean, they're great folks out there who want to help your band as long as you can channel them the right direction. I think that's a big plus. And you're talking branding, and anybody can look online and see thousands of companies who brand themselves very well. Mm-hmm. I mean, you know what you're going to get when you go to McDonald's, right? I mean, It may not be great, but it's consistently McDonald's, and their golden arches have been there for years, all that stuff. And anybody that ever comes in and tries to change a brand, you see failure happen sometimes. And so many people have the better idea and all that. I think you got to run with it, don't you, Bob? I mean, you start with your ideas and like your guy, and you got to let him go.
And then go. Yeah, I agree 100%. I'm also curious, because I will be the first one to tell you, I don't know half of what there is to know about this, but I'm curious what if there's anybody still listening,
maybe.
I don't know. Who knows? What are some things that you were doing to boost your brand, to get out there, to be seen? I'm I've talked about.
Let me mention Dirk Turner, who just popped into the show here. Dirk's with a band called Crying Out Loud. They have this giant guitar pick lit up sign on their stage that says Crying Out Loud. That's a brand. I mean, that everywhere you go and see them, that is there. And anybody that walks by the venue, in the venue, or whatever, they know who that band is based on that sign on the stage. Mm-hmm. May sound simple. A lot of bands now go into video screens that show their brand, and it'll flip to their Venmo or flip to this or that. It's a great idea, and it's cheap. It's not like you're spending a fortune on any of this stuff. I mean, I think Crying Out Loud spent some money on their sign, but it's good looking. That's just an example of showing people your logo. There's a band locally too that walks around and hands out cards with their social media accounts on it and meets everybody in the bar on the break. Like you said, Christmas cards. Well, they're meeting the client basically who's out there watching them play. And here, follow us on social media. It's a genius idea, and it just requires a little bit of time and effort. It's not. It's not
really not even that much.
No, not at all. But you can also screw it up. I think you can. And we've talked about that on the show. Dirk said Niles made our sign. Well, good. Maybe it didn't cost a lot because that's their drummer. So Niles did a great job with that sign. And Bob, I'm going to pick your brain from the Rock House side, because do you have to brand differently, or do you have to enhance your brand when you travel like to places and play like Key West and all that? Or is it less impact there than it is locally?
Wow, that's a really good question. I never thought about that. I don't know that we do anything differently when we go, outside of our little bubble here. But I think what enables us to travel outside of our bubble was having the guts to do it to begin with, and go out to, we play our average show, what I would call a local show, is like an hour and a half to 2 hours away. We do that every week. I can tell you that, like, this week we've got a local one. It's 45 minutes away. There's a place up here called Buckeye Lake. It's a small little lake with we played there last weekend too at a different venue. But then we're going up to Cleveland. That's Friday. Then we're going to Cleveland on Saturday, and then Canton for the Pro Football Hall of Fame stuff on Sunday. And all of that stuff, all the travel stuff, it started somewhere. And so we kind of took a chance, and, we played some small towns in Ohio. And I'll tell you one thing that we haven't really mentioned yet, is the Ohio Fair and Events Association, the OFEA. That's something that the band did years ago. There's a convention that happens every single year. I want to say it's in October, November. I'm not positive. But you literally, it costs money. You get a booth for your band, where somebody mans the booth. It's just like you were going through a trade show or something. Literally, it's the same thing. And then there's a stage where you put together like a 25 minute show. And there are representatives there from every festival in Ohio, and then some. And they get a chance to see you. And that's, so you put together a banger for like 20 or 25 minutes and try and impress the hell out of them. And then all of a sudden your email starts lighting up. And so that was one thing that got us a lot of stuff in a lot of different small towns in Ohio. And if you've never tried playing in one of these places or going into a small town, man, I would suggest doing it, because, for us, we're a rock band. We're an 80s hair band. We dip a little bit into the 70s. We dip a little bit into the 90s. But mostly our wheelhouse is right there in the 80s. And I tell you, when you go into these small towns and these sleepy little towns where there's nothing going on, it's fun because they're ready to go. They show up ready to have a good time, and it's a good way to do it. But once you start doing stuff like that, once you play Coldwater, Ohio, and New Bremen, Ohio, and Bell Fountain, Ohio, like, you go there, and if you go and you do a good job, they'll want you back. And so now you've got an audience who knows who you are, and you'd be surprised that just that bubble grows, So we've got areas all over the state now where we can go, and we'll know that we've got friends there. We've got people that we've met before, people that have invited their friends to go. It's crazy how it happens, but if you go and you're really, put your best foot forward, do a good job, it kind of it sets itself up.
Well, the competition's not there in those smaller towns either. That you get like in a big city where there's 100 bands vying for one gig spot. You know, it's and if you do, I've been to those places. I know exactly what you're talking about. You land in this sleepy little town and you rock them out for 3 hours, and everybody's talking about you for a week, or two afterwards.
And that's cool. By the way, here's another cool secret about that. We don't. Once we get going into the summer, we really don't rehearse because we're playing so much. But we do come into each show with a different set list, and we'll add probably on any given year 4 or 5 songs to our set list now. It's not a whole lot of work. And the thing that's cool about this, when you're only playing a place once a year or maybe twice a year, you don't have to shake it up all that much. We've all got jobs, we've all got families and all that stuff. We're doing this for fun. We don't have to reinvent the wheel every time we go and play a different place because it's the first time they've heard us play it. I mean, we're playing songs that everybody plays. A lot of people play it. But we don't have to go out and learn tons of new songs for every show that we do, so that we don't bore the crowd. If we were just staying here and we're in Columbus, if we just stayed here and played the same 4 or 5 bars and just put them in rotation, we would have to change it up because who wants to see it? They know, But when you're only in a place once a year.
They're going to come out. They're going to say, well, I remember that band. I want to be there,
And it makes it really easy on you. So
thank you, Kevin Cooper, for your comment. And Ed, thanks for that comment. Yeah. And the Whammies is a great brand as well. Their t-shirts, the upside down MTV logo, but it's Whammies.
I've seen that.
Awesome. that is so creative and so cool. And there's a lot of bands out there that brand themselves well. I mean, we've got one locally here that plays up your area too, Bob Naked Karate Girls. I mean, they've been around for years.
Yeah.
And they have a distinct brand. You see the NKG logo, exactly who it is if you're anywhere involved in music. And that the logo to me seems so important. Mm-hmm. And it's like as simplistic as Hall Around Town Radio's logo is. We've got them all over these shirts that people are wearing in places and all that. And people are starting to really recognize it. I mean, they do. They see it and they point it out, or they send me pictures that they catch somebody wearing one of our shirts. And I'm sure you get the same thing with your band, the people that wear merch and do all that as you guys play. And one thing that I thought was cool is you took a picture in our Support Local Music shirt at Sloppy Joe's in Key West. And that to me, that's the kind of stuff I hope the people that get those shirts do, because that's where it makes the impact. You know what I mean? And you just off the cuff sent me that, and I was like, that is just so cool.
Well, it's a cool place, and I can't tell you how much. Even I'm not even in the same city as you are, but I appreciate the hell out of the fact that you support, and not only support, you champion local music. And
there you are, brother.
Look at that meathead.
That's good, man. That's good.
Yeah, I mean, anything that I can do to try and help. I mean, I just think it's fantastic what you're doing, and I love that so many people tune in now to your show and wear the shirts. I think it's great.
Have you noticed today our live viewership sucks because who's here? Not here.
Oh yeah. I knew that was gonna be. I mean,
we know why people watch Hot Topic Tuesday. It's for the F-bombs and all the other stuff that goes on, and the character that my friend Karis is. But
fuck, I don't.
I love it. I knew you'd come up with that. So let's take it to another level here. And Kevin Cooper said something about one thing I admire about their band when they're playing the Hanky Panks and Eyes Up Here and all that. They have these request slips, and that's ballsy. I mean, that's really ballsy. It goes out to the audience, and those request slips come in, and it's a connection to the audience. It's whether it's branding or, as you said, relationships, but you're building a relationship with somebody who says, can you play this song? And you play that song, they're happy.
Yeah.
And you guys, as a, for lack of a better term, 80s cover band, I guess.
Yeah, that's exactly what we are.
you're seeing people that are, as I like to say, like-minded. I mean, they love that music. They grew up on that music. They're there to hear that music. Is that part of the brand, you think? I mean, the shtick that you do?
1,000%. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, we're dressed up in costume for every show. The look of our logo, you know, is like the big aviator glasses. Not unlike Naked Karate Girls. We both do that. But we really, I mean, just, and the whole, you know, using the cold spark fountains and the geysers and all that stuff. I mean, that's 80s stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
It's just people, you know, at the places that we play and the kind of shows that we play, it just works. And it's become part of the brand. People know that when they come to one of our shows, you're gonna see stuff like that. And yeah, it's all part of it.
So I'm going to ask you, I'm going to put you on the spot. If there's somebody listening today or watching today that is starting a band,
Yeah.
what would the first piece of advice you would give them be to develop a band brand?
I would think the very first thing that you need to do is figure out exactly what you want to do, what you want to be, what type of what type of band are you going to be? And I'm just talking strictly cover bands here. You know, if like for us, if you're going to be an 80s band, okay, what do I need to do that? If you're going to be, there's a lot of 90s bands that are, the 90s thing is cool again right now. So, okay, we're going to be a 90s band. What do we want to look like? What do we want our stage to look like? What do we like, you know, the stuff that we talked about, you know, early when we first started talking here was, you know, what's the logo going to look like? You want it to look like something that is going to represent who you are and what you are. And then I think, I don't know if I'm going in the right order here, but I think one of the biggest decisions you can make is your song choices and your set list. You got to pick stuff that's going to resonate with people that they want to hear. I think extremely important that a lot of people don't get is you have to pick songs that are within the singer's wheelhouse.
Please. Please.
Every time I hear someone who's trying to sing something that's just incredibly out of their range, I'm like, what are you doing? There are literally hundreds of thousands of songs out there you can pick. There's 50 of them that are in your wheelhouse for a show, you know. But I think you got to pick the right stuff, and it's really not that simple. Look, I'll be the first to tell you, my band, we are not going to melt anybody's faces. Nobody is so technically proficient in our band that they're going to just blow you away. But what we do is we do a good job of putting on a good show. You know, if you come to one of our shows, you're going to hear some sour notes. You're going to see me drop a stick. You're going to see that happens every night, but it's about putting on the show, I think. And that would be, to me, one of the things that a band needs to think about starting off is what do we want our show to look like?
Well, you said it best there, and I think people don't always realize that branding of your band is not just the logo, not just the name, but it's like you said, song choices, because that is your brand. I mean, if you're everywhere, do you really have I mean, there are bands that play all over the genres and everything else, and they're successful. But you really want something that's long lasting, you got to have it. I mean, I look at like the guys in the Eagles project. They're doing an Eagles tribute thing. They're fantastic musicians and great vocalists. That's their brand. It's the Eagles. You know, when you go to the Eagles project, what you're getting.
Yeah.
You know, but it's still their choice of what songs to interject in there to keep that crowd energized and make them realize that brand was so important. And I'm going to put you on the spot for another one here, Bob. Okay. All right. You and I have joked about this cargo shorts thing, but I see so many bands that look sloppy on stage.
Yeah.
You got to look like you're, you know, even the grunge bands had a flannel. You know, I mean, they all wore flannels and those kind of things. That was a brand, you know. Yeah. But when you look at somebody and they're, you know, one guy's wearing a Happy Meal T-shirt and the other guy's wearing, and it just doesn't say this is our band, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that drives me nuts because I think that is low hanging fruit. Like it is so simple to just go up there and look presentable, and look professional up there. And I'm not even saying like, obviously with us, and I know Rockstar down in Cincinnati does the same thing. We're wearing costumes and that's our shtick, right? That's what we do. But I actually like it. I mean, it's a pain having to change before every show and change out of it afterwards. But I don't know. Once we put that stuff on, I just, my spidey senses get all tingly, and I feel like I'm, like I'm ready to go and help, put on a show. That's one thing. And I'm not by any means saying that all bands should be doing that, because they shouldn't. I think, you don't need to do that. But at the same time, I think you gotta do your best to look good up there on stage. And you're on stage, you're given a platform, people are looking up to you. Like for me, when I go, when I have downtime, and that's usually, during the winter months, when I get to go see bands, I don't want to see, just sloppy people up there.
Sloppy,
like I want to see a pro. I want to see a good show.
I've figured out now, Rick Piper on here from Rockstar, and I have figured them out now. That I didn't know they wore Garanimals, so there it is. All right, that's great. And Kevin Cooper, you're spot on with that. And that's the shorts on stage debate. You can look good in a pair of shorts sitting on a stool if you want to, playing guitar and wearing a Jimmy Buffett shirt and all that. I mean, that's a brand. It is, but it's when you look at some of these bands and they look like, I just drug my shirt out of the dryer or where it was for a week, and they just look like hell. I don't think it says much for your, how do I want to put this without pissing people off? I guess says much for your proudness of your band. I'll just say proudness, I mean, of the band. If you can't look the part, at least look nice to people. I'm not asking you to wear a popped collar polo or anything, I'm just saying look good. Don't look sloppy. If sloppy's your brand, then so be it. Call yourself the Sloppy Joes or something. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I do this for fun. This is not yes, I earn money doing it, but it's not my main source of income. I have a career and I do that, and so do the rest of the guys in the band. But it is a job, and as much as it, as we do it for fun. We do it because we love to do it. It's also a job, and they're paying us to do a job. And so I think it's incumbent upon us to look as good as you can up there.
And have something that you're recognized. Like Angela Combs, she's a wonderful singer. She kicks her shoes off before every show and plays barefoot. I mean, that's cool. Yeah. People know that. They know that's going to happen. And it's not sloppy in any way, shape, or form. It's just the way she likes to perform, and everybody relates to that. And nobody's saying you have to wear a uniform, and you guys do. You wear uniforms, obviously. It's your 80s glam band uniform.
That's our shtick, that's our choice. That's what we do, but it works for us. But it doesn't necessarily work for everybody, nor should it.
And Scott Albrecht, thank you for that comment you put in there. You always look great as a front man in your band, and I think that's important. If you're the lead singer guy up front, that's where the focal point is many, many times. So that I think that's very important. And Scott always has the look of the style and genre his band's playing. So that's a great thing. Bob, is there other things, periphery, that goes on for branding that maybe doesn't involve the stage and doesn't involve performing, things that go on behind the scenes that you want to talk about?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think and really this just depends on where you want to go with things. If what your aspirations are, if your aspirations are to try and look, man, I'm 52-year-old. That ship sailed long ago for going out and trying to make it. It's just I know that I'm fortunate to be doing what I'm doing. But yeah, I think there's things that we can be doing behind the scenes if you do want to grow it. One example would be actually two of them. Is your band set up as an LLC? Are you a business?
Yes.
I think you absolutely should. I think it's, we all have to pay taxes. Like everybody in our band, we all pay taxes on this stuff that we earn. I think it's a really important thing. I think it looks professional. I think you give booking agents or venues or whomever it may be, or any of these festival committees, it's a lot more professional look if you can go up there and you give them a business, if you're actually meeting with somebody, or if you're trading emails with them, and they can literally see that you're set up as a business. It's Rock House LLC or whatever. I think that's huge. And then along with that, for a lot of larger venues and for events and stuff, they're going to want you to have insurance. So, do you have insurance? An insurance policy does not cost much for a year, and the premiums aren't bad, and it's worth it. I mean, but you have to weigh. Okay, well, do I want to play these shows that they're going to pay some more money? Do I want to mess around with insurance? Do you need to have insurance if you're just playing pubs and if you're a solo acoustic act or whatever? I don't know. That's not for me to say, but for us and for what we do, it's absolutely necessary, and it's something that we need to do. And I think that all ties into growing the brand, because if for us, and again, I'm not telling anybody else what to do, but for us, having that has helped, because we can book bigger shows, we can book festivals, we can travel into other states, and we got some really cool stuff coming up this summer that I can't wait for, and we wouldn't have them if we didn't have that stuff set up. I guarantee it.
No, and I think you're right. When people see that LLC tag at the end and all that, they're thinking, well, this is a professional outfit. I mean, they are, and they're not that anybody that's playing without that is not, but what I'm saying. It's it does put that seal of approval on it a little bit, and it also makes it easier on the band to do some write-offs and some things for investment in equipment and all those things that come into all that LLC stuff. And we're not here to talk tax breaks, but let's face it, it's part of it,
It's a huge part of it. And so I'm kind of, I definitely have a nerd streak in me. So I keep a spreadsheet. I basically keep it for the band, for all the guys in the band. I mean, I track everything, every mile that we drive, you name it. I track it all. Every time there's a hotel involved or whatever, because that stuff all gets written off at the end of the year, and it for us it adds up. I think I had I'm trying to remember, but I think it was somewhere around just driven miles last year for the band, somewhere around 9,000, which isn't a huge number, but when you multiply that by whatever 67, 68 cents a mile, it
adds up. It does.
Adds up. And it's really important. All the gear that I literally go through about 120, 130 pairs of drumsticks every year. That adds up, and drum heads and you name it. If I need to buy a cymbal, the guys' guitar strings, guitar picks, all that stuff, uniforms, like for our band, like all of our, I write all that stuff off. It's all all doable and helps.
Tree people are coming after us, Bob. You're killing trees, buddy.
I know.
Lots of them.
Yeah.
And Carlos says nerds rock. Yeah, but you're exactly right. But that's the difference between running a professional outfit and just saying, oh, there's 4 of us going to get together and play on the weekends and we don't really care. I mean, there's a difference there. And you guys are playing so many dates and so much that you've got to be a pro at it. You've got to be good at it. And it reflects in your brand, because people know, like you said, Coldwater, Ohio is going to have you back every year because how professional you were.
And by the way, like, I'm not, if I'm coming off this way, I apologize, because it's not what I want. Like, I'm not trying to talk down to anybody, like, because I would actually, like, I've been in many of those bands where 4 guys get together and just say, fuck it, let's go play. I love that. There's some, but since we're talking about building a brand, these are just the things that we do for that to happen. So, for every for every band who's trying to do what we're doing or what we're trying to do, I know there's a lot more that are like, I'm not interested in that, and that's fine. That's totally fine.
Thank you, Rick, for the zebra pants or tax deductible. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Leah's got a great question. She said, you get paid more to take care of all those extra details? It's time consuming. Does your guy get paid more that does your branding stuff?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, and it's only right. I mean, to me, that time is money, and I'll be very open and honest with you. I don't know exactly what the numbers are. I don't care. I know I'm happy with what I get, and the other guys are happy with what they're getting. So yeah, but and like if I go out and there's several of the shows on the calendar that come from me, from contacts that I have or whatever. So yeah, I get a little extra for those. But yeah, I mean, the amount of work that goes into running this band from his perspective is huge. I mean, booking alone is huge. I mean, and planning trips, and it's not just an hour drive away when you're booking flights for all the guys, and when you're transportation to and from the airport and places to stay when we're out. Like it's a lot of stuff. And then, and then also then keeping up with all the, we've got all these cool toys on the stage, but you got to buy juice for the guys.
The hazers and
all that stuff. It all comes from somewhere. So that all comes out of the band money. And,
well, I'm glad you said that people get extra money for doing more labor, because you want to hit the band frustration meter in a big way. Let there be one guy in the band who does all the work, and this guy comes in and gets paid the same as he does for a gig, and drops the mic at the end of the night and walks off. I mean, that's where tension happens in a band. This guy's like, I'm working all week long, promoting, doing all this, and these guys come in and step on stage. They're the rock star, and they walk off with their girlfriend. I mean. That doesn't fly.
No, and that's awful. When somebody isn't, when somebody who isn't nearly as invested in the band as somebody else is, and thinks that they deserve exactly, the same cut as the person. Absolutely, hairspray that costs money.
Aquanet. It's got to be Aquanet.
The key to that is you got to get really, really good wigs. I'm fortunate. Like, look at me, I got nothing up here. I mean, I tried doing the wig thing literally for one show, my very first show I played with the band before I was even in the band, and I looked ridiculous, and I looked like a big meathead who was trying to wear a wig, and the stuff was blowing in my face, and I just took it off, and I usually just wear like a ball cap on backwards, and they were like, yeah, we're good with that, because you did look like an idiot with that wig on, but the other guys can pull it off pretty well. So
I just realized something, Bob. We could start our own podcast. We should. Men Without Hair, we should call it. That'd be a good one. I'm on it. I'm all over it. So any last thoughts? We're about out of time here today. And first and foremost, let me say thank you for filling in today. You've been a wealth of knowledge, and I love hearing about what your band's doing, because as I saw that schedule pop up, like I said, I was like, wow, these guys are the real deal. You're playing a bunch.
But we do it because it's fun. We love to do it. And, I'm very, very fortunate to be able to do it. And I'm very fortunate to be able to do it with a group of guys that I absolutely love. I mean, before bandmates, they're friends, I mean, there's no crazy drama in our band. And I love that. I love just a quick shout out to, I got a couple of weeks ago, I got to go down to Hamilton and see Retroactive Band play with Colleen, I went to high school with her. I love going to see other bands. And unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do a whole heck of a lot of here now. Our schedule's starting to ramp up, but yeah, that's something that I absolutely love to do. And man, and I know it's hard, like on your off weeks when you're playing a lot, you just want to do other things, but man, keep going and seeing other bands play. I mean, it's great when you're playing and you see other musicians show up to be there and share time with you. And it's also a great way to get some good ideas on what to do and sometimes what not to do, but both, you know. I mean, if you're talking about, again, to tie this all in, growing your brand, watching other bands is a great way to do that.
Well, to quote our friend Dave Moody, who tours with Hairball now across the country, Dave told me one time, he says, I love going to see other bands, and I learn something every show I go see somewhere else from another band, whether it's good or bad. He said, yeah. I learned something. I learned what to do, what not to do, and just little techniques and things that he puts in his floppy disk in his head, you know, and helps him down the road with all the stuff he's doing. And I think you're spot on with that. And any musician that just goes out and plays their gigs and never goes to see another venue or another musician is not going to be a real success down the road, you know?
Oh, they're missing out.
I mean,
they're just missing out.
So parting thoughts before we go?
No, just other than thanks for having me on, Scott. I know this ended up kind of taking a different turn than the normal Tuesday show, but I had fun. Maybe if there were 4 or 5 people listening and they had fun, that'd be great too.
Well, you didn't eat anything during the show. That's number one. So
yeah. Well, the good thing is I can't see on my screen how many people are actually watching it. Maybe 2 or maybe
you probably don't want to today. But
that's fine with me.
We know where the talent is in this show, and it's not here today.
No, absolutely. I have no delusions about that.
Thank you, Brad. Brad's another great band, Abe's Lincoln, and they brand themselves remarkably. And one thing I'll leave a parting little shot with is, if you're going to brand yourself, as we said, with a great logo, a great band name, and all those things, then get it out there. We didn't talk about social media today and all that, but it's virtually free now to advertise your band. That's the side of that social media side that you need to look into. So many of the old guys say, I don't do social media. You're missing out on a genuinely great opportunity to promote your band and the shows that you're playing. And the more people you have there, the more likely you are to be rebooked. I mean, that's just Scott's opinion, but that's where it's at.
You're right.
Well, I think we've wrapped this up for the day, Bob. I appreciate you. Stay with me, if you will, before we go off the air. Guys, I want to thank you for being here today at All Around Town Radio. You've been watching Hot Topic Tuesday with my good friend, Bob Klein. Bob, tell them how to find Rock House.
You can find us on the web. Do they say that anymore? The web? I just felt really old saying that. Yeah. On the internet, rockhouseofficial.com, Facebook, Rock House Columbus. Those are usually the 2 best places. That's where we post our schedule. We do have a couple of shows coming up this summer down that a ways, kind of, not really in Cincinnati, but we're going to be in Wilmington. We'll be in Lebanon, I think, and one more time, maybe late in the year, the casino in Lawrenceburg. So, and we're working. I am efforting with Karis to play at the Bell and the Bear next year. So. And if that happens for me, that's kind of a bucket list thing for me. Just, I grew up in Montgomery, and it would be really, really, and I've been to the Bell, several times now, and it would just be a really cool thing to do. So I'm hoping that's going to happen, but that'll be next year.
Perfect. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
And a reminder to everybody, we will be with you on Thursday with our Who's Playing Out segment, brought to you by Heathers. That is at 5 o'clock. Also Thursday night, we'll be at the Jam at the Bell and the Bear for Karis's birthday party. So join us for that if you'd like to be there as well. And as always, guys, thanks for your interaction on this show. That's all about the comments and the folks who join us and provide input. Bob Klein, you're a rock star, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Scott. You're the best.
Man, hang in there with me a second. We'll see you guys. We'll be back. I had a cancellation on Wednesday with the band tomorrow, and like we do about once a month. So I don't know if we'll pick anybody up or not. If not, we'll see you on Thursday live at 5 right here.
Working for the weekend, and I want to see a show. I flip on the Book of Face.
Book of Face.
Yeah, I know where to go.
Hey, guys, don't forget the views and opinions expressed in this program are those of Scott and Bob today, and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of our sponsors or any entities they may represent.
For the community.